Let's have a look at the highlights of the elite women's race here in Merksplas, the Aardbeiencross, the Strawberry Cross, and it was Leonie Bentveld that got the best start. Van der Heijden and Bentveld at the moment the two fastest starters.
Yeah, Bentveld got that great start, didn't she? She wanted to lead through these sections and so she could get into the field first. But for Quenet and Inge van der Heijden came in around into this important sandpit section. You really want to try and lead into the sandpit so you can just look at your exit and not worry about anyone blocking you behind. And the first 3, 4 were able to get out of it, whereas Brand had to jump off and run around Van Alphen.
In the end, though, as you were saying, she just steadily rode into this race today, Lucinda Brand. If you look at where she is here,
she doesn't panic at all, does she? You know, she changed bikes, and this was the important part. We see she shook her head, and she wasn't quite sure about whatever it was that was on that bike. She didn't enjoy, whereas this bike, she's got it. She jumps back in onto Van Alphen's wheel, and that's when she comes to the front of this race. And yeah, look how strong she's looking at that point. She jumps around for Quenet and joins onto the back of the front two.
And that was it. That was the only, for her, that was the only bike change today.
That was the only bike change, yeah. A couple of others changed as well, probably because the combination of sand and mud together, when you have to get off the bike in the sandpit, you get all that nasty stuff in your pedals and it's really tough to clip in. And in a course like this, you really need to be able to clip in. This is the moment, I think, where we saw Van Alphen make an attack because she was on the bike and everybody else wasn't. They weren't expecting it. She jumps around and she tries to then take the lead of this race.
And for Annie Van Alphen, in terms of how it's just starting, it's just building and capitalizing on her hopping ability and her hopping technique. I mean, she's had 7 podiums so far this season, yeah. and has finished every race in the top 10. And you just feel that maybe that little bit of extra power, that tiny bit more endurance that will carry her and be able to really capitalize on those sort of moves when she's hopping, because this is where Lucinda Brand went through that corner. As you said in commentary, she's that right. She can just pedal where everyone else, she can just pedal that little bit more, put that little bit more power down where everyone else behind her feels that they have to give up. And this gap here just grew and grew from this point.
Yeah, it was in that sandpit, wasn't it? She chose not to go behind Bentveld. She took the line of Van der Heijden and Van Alphen, and then she came out through the middle of them and got to the front, and then the next mud section, she made that move. And she just put everything in, as we see Bentveld in the background there. Had to unclip, and then she's lost all the momentum, and everyone's coming around her too. I mean, it's really impressive for Van Alphen there to come around Bentveld in a line that isn't there and still manage to come out the other end. But Brand was just all in it today. So we saw Inge van der Heijden hit a fence just coming into that corner and had to run this section, meaning that she was just on the back foot at this point, but she was able to get back on just onto Bentveld, and I'm going to watch it again there. She hits the fence, has to take a hand off to try and stop herself, but she actually just hit it anyway, and hopefully she's okay. She didn't seem to have any problems from the race from that, but Brand had such a brilliant start. Gap at this point that she was just powering away and doing everything in the way that Brand always does everything. Yeah,
and you could see the way she was just looking across the course, just on all the sort of, as I like to call, the hot dog turns, the 180 bends, to be able to just see where everyone else was around her, and just so cool, so calm that we've just come to know from her.
And she was good in that race, wasn't she? She was super smooth. She had that gap, and Van Alphen was able to really do that penultimate lap, super strong, but she just didn't have anything to close it down and took in a second spot.
And Leonie Bentveld bangs the handlebars in frustration.